Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, we will present about an analysis of repeated cases involving abuse of halal logo. Firstly, we go through to the introduction. The intake of halal label food being Muslim is a primitive one, qualifying criteria for the information, maintenance and strengthening of an overall Islamic lifestyle, identity and a framework to comfort peace. Islamic value go beyond all actions of life, giving a range of service to the Malaysian Muslim and are suitable in a multicultural setting for the development of identity. In addition, Muslims want to ensure that the food they eat adhere to along with wholesome and healthy feature. Sharia value, which is toyib. The explanation why halal products should be eaten forbids haram and prevents questionable item. In the case of halal food goods, then labeling or halal certificate that provide Muslim consumers with the perception food is processed according in the principle and norms of Sharia. In comparison, most customers are able to distinguish the halal logo of Malaysia from the halal logo of other countries. Various socio-economic and attitude factors such as level of literacy, trustworthiness, awareness of safety and health, government intervention and development practice, and trust in the halal logo increase. The trust of customer in the halal logo of Jakim. The notion of religious interest and protection is correlated with the purchase of halal food by Muslim. Then it had created more popularity among Muslims from the very beginning when Jakim unveiled the approved halal logo that accelerate the purchase of halal goods by Muslim customers of or involvement in the services that meet Sharia rules and principles. The halal logo also certifies food outlets that are appropriate for Muslim to occupy. Next, the aim of this qualification is to show that the Sharia criteria are met by their goods. Next, halal food items are easily accessible and stress-free in Malaysia. For income, halal food demands are rising even though buyers are being misled on non-halal goods and the products that improve the sensitivity of Muslim in this country are mislabeled. However, once the food is packaged, it is not easy to research the commodity. As a consequence, Muslims depend on the authority responsible for verifying the status of halal and hazardous goods. Next, this research discusses some of the significance of halal logo issues, examines the steps taken by governments to extend the regulation on the logo, the analysis of repeated cases involving abuse the halal label or logo as well as criminal liability, and how unlawful marking abuse the right of Muslim customer. Furthermore, to draw attention to the need for policymakers to take the requisite step to create more standard halal governance in Malaysia. Next, in the government measure for the extension of law in Malaysia about halal logo, the Department of Islamic Development introduced the halal logo first Malaysia, which is Jakim in 1994, in charge of the Department of the Prime Minister. With the mutual assistance of academic, the halal logo and halal certificate were accepted under the strict guidance of Jakim. The key aim of this department is to ensure that the specification of Sharia standards and law are fulfilled by foods, drink, medicinal products, cosmetic and others products that earn the halal logo. It will take time to receive the halal logo and halal certificate, and it often takes time for permission to complete the process. However, there are two regulations made under the Act, namely the trade description, the definition of Halal Order 2011 and the trade description, certification and marking of Halal Order 2011. The primary law on the halal logo concerning food item. The Trade Description Act 2011, Trade Description Definition of Halal Order 2011 and the Trade Description Certification of Marking of Halal Order 2011 covering the legal requirement on matters related to halal. Next, the slide shows that attributes of the Malaysia halal logo. Halal logo refers to the logo issued by Jakim, Jaim, Ma'in and contains First, at the center of a circle and a curved star. Next, the Arabic word which is halal at the center of the star. Next, the Roman alphabet word halal below it. Next, the word Malaysia written inside the circle of the logo in the Roman alphabet and in Arabic word which is Malaysia. Next, to distinguish the Roman alphabet from the Arabic from this, two small and five curved stars are located. Furthermore, the concept of halal certification and marking of halal certification are also specified under Section 4 and 6 of the Trade Description, Certification and Marking of Halal Order 2011. Certification of halal means, in Section 4, all foods and goods shall not be described as halal or to be described in other manner to indicate that the food or good can be consumed or used by a Muslim except it is certified as halal by the competent authority and marked with the halal logo as specified in the first schedule. And in under section 6, all food are or goods which intend to be marked in accordance to the paragraph 4 and 5 shall be marked by affixing and annexing the logo specified in the first schedule to mark it on or incorporate it with the food or the goods themselves or anything in on with the food or goods are supplied. Next slide, the situation in the enforcement of halal logo. Malaysia Muslim live in the pluralistic society and very vigilant about their food intake. The status of halal and haram is a primary concern for them for that cause. In fact, for the reason, the demand of a country cannot be carried out by its own acts, and each country depends on its export-import undertakings. In the case of halal, it is also very nuanced and not only limited to pork-free substance. Often there are import certain food and goods from non-Muslim country to satisfy the demand of Malaysian Muslim, and these halal statutes are still unknown to them because there are no standardized halal requirement and halal logo for food processing of or production. In this respect, for example, the use of genetically modified species such as non-halal gelatin in food in food is a major issue. Therefore, the halal logo plays an important role in the maintaining compliance with Sharia law, which is certify the halalness of a commodity and makes it legal for customer. In some situations, certain trader have misuse of halal symbol.
Okay, now we go to the analysis of reported cases involving abuse the halal logo label. As we know, JAKIM and the State Islamic Religious Council published the halal logo in Malaysia. In addition, in order to avoid any deception and the use of false and deceptive halal logo, the halal logo must be approved and released by a trustworthy Islamic organization. A significant lot of companies have recently been found to use either a fraudulent halal logo or a logo which does not conform with the specifications provided by the competent authorities. As a result, customers are becoming more concerned and the legitimacy of the halal compliance authority is starting to be challenged. In this slide, we can see there are some of reported cases involving abuse the halal logo. All cases here have created misunderstanding among Muslim consumers. Consumers are also more concerned about trusting the Malaysian halal logo. For that cause, prior to their purchase, Muslim customers have begun the experience of checking the label of the products. Some manufacturers have their own halal logo, which is banned under the Trade Description Act 2011 in certain cases. Alright. Next, we proceed to the nature and offences. As we know, it must be admitted that laws discussed below may not include every laws that are related to halal in Malaysia. As for general observations, it could be summarized that statutory provisions relating to halal in Malaysia are piecemeal in nature. However, the main provisions on halal food product can be principally found in regulations made under the general provisions of the Trade Description Act. This law was in existence since 1972 when it was first introduced and enforced. There were two regulations made under the Act, namely the Trade Description Use of Expression Halal Order 1975 and the Trade Description Marking of Food Order 1975. From the previous slide, all cases of misuse of the halal logo and halal certificate, it is apparent that in Malaysia there has been a random breach of the trade description definition of halal order 2011 and the trade description certification and marking of halal. Alright, and lastly, we can conclude here that Malaysia is the only country in the world that has governmental regulations to penalize the violation of false halal description on products and services. The Trade Description Act 2011 seems to provide a new feature for greater statutory protection and tighter enforcement against false trade description, including false halal description. However, many forms of issues have arisen in the case of the misuse of the halal logo, which is use of obsolete or delayed halal enforcement certificates, or companies that have never used halal certificates or even use forged halal certificates. Through the law, halal certification and surveillance in this country has been mandated to the government bodies. It therefore benefits Muslim consumers, especially as halal certification provides assurance to them because it fulfills the Sharia law, which is an obligation for Muslims to adhere to.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Faris Naim bin Muhammad Dahan. My matric number 1191925. Now I present to you about law enforcing criminal sanction against violation of halal logo and halal certificate. Section 16 of the Trade Description Act 2011. No person shall make any false statements, whether direct or indirect, by any means whatsoever, whether in Malaysia or abroad, any product or services supplied by it or any methods adopted by it shall be of a kind supplied or authorized by any person, including a government or government department or agency or any foreign body or agency, and shall forbid or limit the usage of any name, logo, insignia, seal, title, signature, word, letter, or any other type of description in the course of commerce, business, or career. In the other hand, according to Section 29 of the Trade Description Act 2011, any person who certifies, marks, supplies, or offers to supply goods of that specification in the course of any trade or company in contravention of the order commits an offence and is liable for the following punishment. First, if the person is a body corporate, shall be punished with fine not exceeding 200,000 ringgit, and for every second or subsequent offence shall be liable to a fine of 500,000 ringgit. And the second one is, if the person is not a body corporate, shall be punished with a fine not exceeding 100,000 ringgit or with imprisonment for a term of not more than 3 years. And for every second or subsequent offence, and for maximum penalty of 250,000 ringgit or imprisonment of not more than 5 years or both. Furthermore, in the section 4 and 5 of the trade description definition of Halal Order 2011 state as follows: any person who supplies or offers to supply any food through any representation or act which is likely to mislead or confuse any person that the food is halal or can be consumed by a Muslim commits an offense and shall be liable, first, if such person is a body corporate, to a fine not exceeding 5 million ringgit, and for a second or subsequent offense to a fine not exceeding 10 million ringgit. Or, and the second one is, if such person is not a body corporate, to a fine not exceeding 1 million ringgit or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or to both, and for a second or subsequent offense to a fine not exceeding 5 million ringgit or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or both. Now we go to the conclusion. An ongoing phase is legal growth. No exception is Malaysian halal rules. Similarly, supervision and implementation processes need more development in other developed countries. In addition, the non-existence of the universal halal standard, the halal emblem, and the absence of international consensus are the key barriers to the advancement of halal certification in national and international jurisdiction. The key role of the halal logo is to assist Muslim customers without question or delay in choosing food items. That's all from our group. Thank you.